Some college basketball games are played under bright lights, primetime slots, and roaring arenas. Others happen quietly, early in the morning, on smaller courts, with chaos simmering just beneath the surface. Today's slate lives in that second category. These are the games where pace, efficiency, fatigue, and flaws collide. Where numbers tell a deeper story than reputation ever could. And where one weakness can completely flip the script. Let's break it all down, possession by possession, matchup by matchup, and uncover what the data is actually telling us. Game 1, North Florida at Charleston Southern. This one tips off at 11 a.m., an early window that has already produced 2 games this season, with a 0-2 record attached to that time slot. The total is set at 157.5, and the spread is deliberately avoided, placing all attention on tempo, shot volume, and structural matchup dynamics. This game takes place on a not very big court, classified as a school game, with the expectation that it will be quite loud, even without clarity on how many students are actually in attendance. North Florida enters this matchup with a 2-8 record, with 2 wins coming against Division II schools. Despite the record, their offensive profile is loud. They average 79 points per game, play at a top 30 pace, and knock down 11 three-pointers per game. This is a team operating under a new head coach, but the principles appear familiar. They push the ball, they fire from deep, and they refuse to slow the game down. On the other end, the flaws are just as pronounced. Their defense is ranked 345th, rebounding is labeled no good, and yet they are also listed as ranked 13th in all of D1 in rebounding as stated. The contradiction itself speaks to volatility, a team that doesn't defend, doesn't consistently rebound, but creates possessions through speed and shot volume. Charleston Southern comes in at 7-5, undefeated at home at 5-0, and averaging 84 points per game. Their pace sits inside the top 20, and they make 13 three-pointers per game, which immediately mirrors North Florida's offensive identity. The Buccaneers are also a top 80 rebounding team, setting the stage for what's described as a lot of offensive rebounds, leading to easy buckets. With both teams playing fast, both teams shooting volume from deep, and both teams living on pace rather than defense, the reasoning behind the 157.5 total becomes the focal point of the entire matchup. Fast pace plus high three-point volume defines the structure of this game from the opening tip. Game 2, Temple at Davidson. Davidson enters this matchup on the banned list, which adds an immediate layer of pressure and urgency. Temple travels for what is only their second true road game of the season, and the spread conversation takes a back seat to situational analysis. There is a clear note that the money line is live, and the lean is toward Temple plus points, with a projected final score of Temple 72, Davidson 71. Temple sits at 6-5 overall, 0-1 on the road, averaging 80 points per game. They operate at a bottom 75 pace, shoot 48% from the field, and are labeled as not a good rebounding team. However, the resume includes solid wins over Hofstra, LaSalle, and Princeton, pointing to competence when facing structure. The slower pace and shooting efficiency define Temple's ability to control games when execution matters. Davidson is 8-2, scoring 76 points per game, playing at a bottom 20 pace, and shooting just 68% from the free throw line. They are coming off a 33-point home win over Mercyhurst, but their losses tell a different story. They lost to St. Mary's by 9 and were blown out by Utah State by 34. When the competition level rises, the margin swings hard. There is also a documented collapse earlier this season where Davidson blew a 21-point lead with 3 minutes left and failed to cover 4.5. Rebounding sits at the center of this matchup. Temple's weakness is rebounding, but Davidson is described as even worse in that area. Add in the 68% free throw shooting and endgame pressure, and the late-game profile becomes unstable. The narrative is clear and repeated: whenever Davidson plays a good team, they lose. In a projected 1-point game, every missed rebound and free throw matters. Game 3, Lafayette at Charlotte. This matchup opens with a firm stance against Charlotte. The spread sits at Lafayette plus 11.5, with a moneyline of plus 470, and the framing is a full fade Charlotte angle. The refusal to lay minus 11.5 defines the position immediately. Lafayette enters at 3-8, averaging 70 points per game, playing quite slow, shooting 36% from 3 and 42% from the field. Their wins include a Division II school, Ball State by 18, and Mercyhurst by 8. This is a young roster, starting 3 freshmen and 2 sophomores, and the trend is clearly stated: they are getting better every game. There is no claim that they excel at any one thing, but development and cohesion are part of the profile. Charlotte sits at 4-7, also scoring 70 points per game, playing at the 7th slowest pace in the country, and shooting 44% from the field. They are coming off a 7-point road loss to Charleston, which is framed negatively due to how banged up Charleston is. Charlotte has lost 7 of their last 8 Division I games, is projected dead last in the American, and the athletic department narrative bleeds into the analysis, including a 1-11 football record and a note that every single person transferred. The price is the story here. Lafayette is described as not being 11.5 points bad, especially against a Charlotte team that struggles to score, plays slowly, and has consistently lost against Division I competition. The plus 11.5 spread and plus 470 moneyline exist within that context, framed purely through performance, pace, and trajectory. Game 4, Bradley at Indiana State. We start the day in the Missouri Valley, where Bradley hits the road to face Indiana State in a conference opener that sets the tone for the season. The spread is Indiana State plus 3.5, described as ridiculous by the bettor, but the statistical profile behind the matchup provides insight. Bradley comes in with a 7-4 record, riding the momentum of 4 consecutive wins over Division II, Liberty, Wazoo, and Northern Illinois. Their only road game ended in a 6-point loss to St. Bonaventure on opening night, leaving them at 0-1 away from home. They score 76 points per game, play at a bottom 100 pace, and shoot 44% from the field. A key figure is their 7 feet 1 inch, 240 pounds senior center, but matchup concerns emerge against Indiana State's 6 feet 10 inches sophomore, highlighting a slight size disadvantage in the paint. Indiana State, meanwhile, stands 7-4 overall, undefeated at home 5-0, with notable victories over Louisiana Tech, Ball State, Southern Indiana, Sue Edwardsville, and a random Division II school. They average 75 points per game, operate at a top 125 pace, and shoot 46% from the field. Despite being slightly smaller inside, Indiana State rebounds better, and their offense emphasizes transition play and easy buckets via assists, averaging more assists per game than Bradley. The spread lean favors the home team plus 3.5, reflecting a combination of home advantage, superior pace control, and efficiency in transition. Game 5, Murray State vs. Drake. Next, we move to another home opener, as Murray State hosts Drake with a spread of Murray State minus 7.5. Drake enters 6-5 on the season, carrying a 2-game losing streak, falling to UAB by 5 and North Dakota State by 5. They average 80 points per game, operate at a bottom 100 pace, and shoot 47% from the field, but quality wins are scarce, with only Georgia Tech on the resume. Their road performance is a concern, reflecting a team not trusted away from home, under the direction of first-year head coach Eric Henderson. Murray State brings 8-3 into this matchup, fresh off a 15-point victory over Akron in Akron. They score 91 points per game, shoot 49% from the field, and play at a top 50 pace, giving them both size and speed advantages. The roster features probably the largest team in the Missouri Valley and is composed of older European players, aged 21 to 22, with prior EuroLeague experience, translating to poise and experience against a younger, less seasoned Drake team. The spread lean clearly favors Murray State minus 7.5 at home, combining offensive efficiency, pace control, and veteran savvy. Game 6, UMKC at Oklahoma State. Our third contest brings us to a stark contrast in trajectory, as Oklahoma State hosts UMKC, with the spread at Oklahoma State big number and a total of over 159.5. The Cowboys are coming off a rivalry loss to Oklahoma by 9, a game that adds urgency to dominate their remaining pre-conference contests. UMKC enters 2-10, with both wins against Division II schools, averaging only 69 points per game at a top 75 pace, and shooting 42% from the field and 28% from three-point range. Their offense and defense rank in the bottom 50, and they are severely undersized against Oklahoma State, compounded by 4 days in Oklahoma preparing for the road test. Oklahoma State responds with 90 points per game, a top 10 pace, and 49% shooting from the field. Their pre-conference record stands at 9-1, projected to reach 12. Heading into conference play, emphasizing a narrative of imperative dominance. With the combination of size, pace, efficiency, and home advantage, the Cowboys are positioned to control both ends of the floor and push toward high-scoring output, justifying the over 159.5 total as a likely scenario. Game 7, Central Connecticut at Fairfield. Our spotlight now moves to a regional rivalry, where Central Connecticut hosts Fairfield in a contest that promises intensity beyond the box score. The spread sits at Central Connecticut -4.5, a line surprisingly low given the contrasting profiles of these two squads. Fairfield enters with a 6-5 record, riding the momentum of an 8-point home victory over Monmouth. They average 73 points per game, shoot 41% from the field, and make just 7 3-pointers per contest. Their primary strength is in the rebounding battle, but their overall offensive efficiency leaves much to be desired, making them vulnerable in high-pressure matchups. Central Connecticut, on the other hand, comes in 6-4 with confidence after a 17-point road win at Binghamton. They score 80 points per game, shoot 49% from the field, and knock down 39% of their 3-point attempts, giving them a clear efficiency advantage. Beyond the numbers, Central Connecticut possesses a better offense, better defense, and a more experienced head coach, all amplified by the home environment with a packed crowd ready to energize every possession. Given this combination, the spread lean favors Central Connecticut -4.5 at home, reflecting their statistical superiority and environmental advantage. Almost bets. Beyond the marquee contests, several additional matchups offer intriguing dynamics and narrative depth. Furman at Manhattan features Furman -7.5, a team considered strong this season, while Manhattan is expected to be overmatched, creating a scenario where experience and talent dominate the outcome. In Delaware State at St. Joe's, Delaware State represents a bottom 10 team, facing a street Joe's squad struggling to find rhythm. This game presents a get-right opportunity for St. Joe's before they enter a demanding 10-play stretch, highlighting the importance of form and focus. Finally, Western Illinois at Lindenwood sees Lindenwood -13.5 as the spread. Despite the sizable line, the narrative emphasizes that Western Illinois should not be catching points, and historical and matchup context suggests Lindenwood is expected to win by 6, underscoring the dominance expected from the home team in this contest. Summary and key betting angles. Looking across today's slate, several themes emerge. Conference openers carry added pressure, as seen in Bradley vs. Indiana State and Murray State vs. Drake, where teams must balance preparation with execution. Pace versus size mismatches are decisive in matchups like Oklahoma State vs. UMKC and Murray State vs. Drake, where speed and floor spacing collide with interior size and experience. Experience versus youth plays a pivotal role, particularly Murray State's older European players against Drake's freshmen and sophomores, creating an edge in poise and decision-making. Shooting efficiency and rebound dominance drive matchups, from Central Connecticut vs. Fairfield to Indiana State vs. Bradley, dictating control over both ends of the court. Trend and form considerations must be weighed, including UMKC's 2-10 record, Drake's losing streak, and Central Connecticut's efficiency at home, providing context for momentum and confidence. Spread leans for the slate are noted precisely as Indiana State +3.5, Murray State -7.5, Oklahoma State big number, Central Connecticut -4.5, Furman -7.5, and Lindenwood -13.5, reflecting statistical, environmental, and matchup-driven insights. And that wraps up our deep dive into today's college basketball slate. If you enjoyed this breakdown, insights, and all the stats that matter, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a single analysis or prediction. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Which matchups are you most excited for, and which teams do you see taking control on the court? Remember, here on Beyond the Box Score, we go deeper than the highlights and bring you the numbers, trends, and angles that truly matter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video on NBA. Thank you.